Good morning and welcome to the Drury Plaza Hotel. It's checkout day here at the Drury Plaza Hotel, and you know what that means. It's time for a review of the hotel as well as the room. Now, just a little bit of a reminder, this is a king suite. It is on the 7th floor, room 718. It does have a fireworks view, which quite frankly gives you this beautiful view over Disney Springs. You can see Hollywood Studios, you can see Epcot, and if you really turn your head, you can also see Magic Kingdom as well. During my stay, I paid $324 for the night. That includes taxes, fees, as well as a parking fee of $25 and around $2 in parking tax. Now, we did do a full room tour. That's available on the channel, so go ahead and check the description box down below or just peruse our videos and you can find that as well. We've talked about the amenities, we've talked about the dining options, so there's a lot to say about this hotel and we've covered it all. But now it's time for a review. And as you guys know, we try and be as open and honest as we can here on this channel, tell you all the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with staying at this place and basically with everything that we do. So let's get into it with the Drury Plaza Hotel. First and foremost, we have to talk about location. The location of this hotel is pretty good. It's located about a mile's walk from Disney Springs, which is great. It's close, it's nearby. I like that. But in terms of Disney Springs area hotels, it's definitely on the outskirts. And there are some options that will get you closer to Disney Springs if you're aiming to be able to walk back and forth to Disney Springs daily. Maybe that's where you want to get your food, you want to just enjoy the entertainment at night. You can definitely do that from this hotel as well. It's just there are more convenient locations if your budget permits. But that aside, it's really hard to find things about this room and this hotel as a whole that I didn't like. And part of that very well may be because it's new. It welcomed its first guests in late 2022, so it still has that new car smell. Everything feels new, everything feels clean, and that's something that can very much fade over time, especially if they don't keep up with the upkeep of this hotel, which I really hope that they do because I think that it is great all around beyond being a little bit far away from Disney Springs comparatively. But even past those shiny things that may dull over time, there are a lot of things about the bones of this place that feel really good to me. When it comes to this room in particular, I do feel like it's very spacious, and the same can be said for spaces around the hotel. I don't want to focus too much on the room when I make this point. It doesn't feel crammed, it doesn't feel tight. It feels like there's plenty of space to move and take up your space, you know? I don't know if it's just me, so let me know in the comments if you've had this experience as well, but it does feel like a lot of the newer hotels are tighter. You know, they're smaller, more narrow spaces for you just to function in, and I don't get that from this hotel at all. Walkways are wide, doorways are wide, and this is again true both in the room as well as throughout the hotel itself. Lots of open spaces, lots of room for families to just function, so I like that. I also want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the decor and the feel of this hotel. So it is new, it does feel new, it does feel modern, but it doesn't feel sterile. A lot of places that are going up recently, I feel like they're like whitewashed with all these whites and brights and stuff like that. They don't feel warm, they don't necessarily feel welcoming. And for some people, I know that this isn't everyone, but I know there are people out there traveling with families or with kids that they just don't feel comfortable in those types of sterile spaces because it feels like, you know, they're gonna breathe the wrong way and make a mess. This place does not feel like that. While it is light and bright, it doesn't feel sterile. It doesn't feel like a hospital. It doesn't feel too fancy. It feels like a casual but nice place to be, which I think is wonderful. Now, let me talk a little bit about the room that I was staying in. Again, this was room 718. It is a king suite. I feel like there was so much space in this room. While it doesn't have a full kitchen, because that's not the type of accommodations that are offered here, it does have a wet bar, which is nice because you can prepare some basic foods, but it feels like a small apartment, which is great. For example, to better illustrate what I'm trying to get at here, this room feels like a small apartment, aside from the lack of kitchen. There's plenty of room to spread out, there's plenty of space to relax, and there's different spaces available in this room. So I like that there is an area where you have a TV, a couch, essentially a living room, and then there is the sleeping space, which makes this feel like a place you could stay for a week or two, which is nice. It's also great for those who are planning on being here for just a short time, but you're really wanting to spend a lot of time in the parks, you know, like rope drop to fireworks, and then you want a place to lounge in your room without having to be just on the bed or in an uncomfortable couch. That's not the situation here. There is a nice comfy couch, which by the way also is a pull-out, so more than 2 people can fit in this room. And then of course there is the bed and the sleeping arrangement. So lots of space. Like I said in the room tour, there's a desk, there's a dresser. Again, you can go check out the room tour to get a detailed look at everything in here. Now there are some features of this hotel that may feel dated, specifically when it comes to the room. We are looking at carpet in some areas. I know that that's not everyone's thing, but it does keep the sound down, and I will say that it was very quiet in here. Even as we got later into the evening after fireworks, which by the way, the fireworks were happening right outside my window. They were kind of in the distance, but you could barely hear them, which was also really nice. But even as families started coming back in, I could hear them shuffling through the hallway. It wasn't loud in here, which was really great. And I think that that is partially due to the carpet. It does work to keep the sound down a little bit. So I couldn't hear banging from upstairs on the floor as people were shuffling around or anything like that, which was wonderful because I got a fantastic night's rest. And I did. That's another thing to mention. The bed was comfortable, the pillows were comfortable. So everything was great in terms of this room. I also don't have anything to say about the shower. That was great. There also is this mirror, which is a tiny little detail, but I think it's wonderful. The mirror in the bathroom has like an anti-fog section. So you go take your hot shower, then you get out of the shower and you don't have to wait for the whole room to defog so that you can wash your face or do your makeup or whatever. You can see in the mirror clearly, which is fantastic. And with all that being said, it's time to talk a little bit about the downsides beyond location. We talked about that briefly at the beginning of our discussion here today, but was there anything about this hotel that was underwhelming? There was one thing, and that was the dining. Now, I have said quite a bit about the food that is available here for free because there's a lot of it. Now, again, if you want to know about all the amenities and what we had to say about them, please go check the description. We have a post all about it on our website. And I do think that the options for free food, so that hot breakfast and the kickback at 5:30 is fantastic, and it's a great perk of being here. But when you're looking at the website, it seems like there's a restaurant as well as a bar and grill. And it presents kind of as 2 separate places, one of which being a restaurant. And that's not quite accurate. The restaurant slash bar and grill is really just one place. One side of it is more of a pool bar and the other side is located inside the lobby. So they're really the same thing. They share the same kitchen. They're right next to each other. There is no formal restaurant though. And that disappointed us a little bit because we had plans to come here and do a dinner at a table service, which is what it looked like we were getting into when we looked at the website, and that wasn't the case, which is totally fine. I do think that it was still a suitable option, and it's the greatest option if you happen to be getting in late when they are serving and you just want something to eat without having to leave the hotel. So it's a good option. The food was pretty good, but it did feel a little disappointing to be wanting a table service option and that wasn't what was available. Aside from that though, it's really hard for me to talk about anything that I really didn't like about this resort. The staff was amazing and incredibly friendly. I woke up to an email with my bill, which was itemized and very easy to understand in my email, so that was fantastic. And when you put all that together with the things that we've talked about already, you know, the bones of this hotel, how the rooms are laid out and the size of the halls and the elevators and whatnot, I really have a hard time coming up with something that I really didn't like. Oh, there is one thing I do think is worth mentioning though, and that is the elevators seemed a little bit crowded and they did take a long time to get where you were going, especially during those times when they were serving whatever it was, you know, hot breakfast or the kickback. That said, I think it's important to take that with a grain of salt because currently the second set of elevators available in this building are down. So, did it take me a little longer to get around? Yes. Would it take you a little longer to get around? Maybe, maybe not, when those elevators are also functioning. But beyond that, I really don't have anything else to say. Everything looks great. The price is very reasonable. The location is great, although there are places that might be better. But let me know your thoughts. Have you stayed here? Have you stayed at one of these hotels, like a Drury hotel before? Tell me about it in a comment down below. Also, let me know if this is the type of place that you could see you and your family staying during a Disney vacation. Until then, don't forget to hit that like button if you liked this video, subscribe if you haven't already. We will be checking out a bunch of different hotels in the Walt Disney World area. We have some exciting ones coming up for you you're not going to want to miss. And finally, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me and talk about this Drury Plaza Hotel. Great option in the Disney Springs area. But that's all for now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.